So it's time to put some of the options together then. Today we're going to look at a couple of the strongest Smash Captains around. Hello and welcome back to Auspex Tactics, the strategy focused 40k channel, where we like to discuss the tactics and strategies to help you get more out of each unit when it's on the tabletop. Today is the last video in our Captains series. We've already talked about the various options available to Smash Captains and how I like to use them on the table. So today I thought that we'd just put a few Smash Captains together, build a generic Smash Captain, and then see what I'd do differently if I was playing either White Scars or Blood Angels, who in my opinion have the strongest other Smash Captains around. So without further ado, let's get into it. We'll start out by taking a look at what I'd consider the standard Smash Captain that you can build entirely from Codex Space Marines, presuming you have access to the Mastercrafted Relic option, which all of the supplement books do. We'll be looking at the standard Smash Captain with Jump Back, Thunderhammer and Storm Shield, and for a good solid Take All Comers option, I'd pick up the Mastercrafted Weapon to make that Thunderhammer damage 4, and the Imperium's Sword Warlord trait, so when he charges he'll get +1 strength and +1 attack. This is a really significant buff to his combat prowess, as it puts him into the very nice bracket of being able to wound knights on 3s. When you're building Smash Captains, if you're mainly focusing the detachment on making them work, then I'd certainly consider the Successor traits available to you. Hungry for Battle, Master Artisans and Whirlwind of Rage could all be good to run as Successor chapters. Hungry for Battle provides some all-important reliability for the charges, and both Master Artisans and Whirlwind of Rage massively up the damage output of the Smash Captain. As Whirlwind of Rage means extra hits on 6s, it will typically amplify your Thunderhammer attack damage by 25% after all rolls have been made. And running the numbers for a 6 attack Smash Captain, I've found that Master Artisans does about the same. For a captain with a Thunderhammer with 6 attacks like this one, it actually does a 25 to 30% damage increase, because you are quite likely to both activate that hit and wound roll, though it's not every time. This surprised me quite a bit, as usually Hungry for Battle is significantly stronger on most melee units, but because Smash Captains have so few attacks, Master Artisans actually decently competes with it. That's quite fortunate really, because Master Artisans is great for shooting as well, meaning that your detachment could have some all-around strong benefits. One option that's available to all Smash Captains is the Chapter Master upgrade. This would be 2 command points to allow you to reroll all hits in the fight phase. And if you're absolutely trying to optimise every bit of damage output from your captain, then this could certainly be worth doing if you have the command points. However, you might want your Chapter Master elsewhere to buff some shooting, for example, or you might have other uses for the command points. The Chapter Master upgrade adds roughly another 25% damage output to the captain, so it's really your choice whether you think that that's worth the 2 command points or not. It's worth noting for his Relic and Warlord traits, you can buy in the Imperium's Sword with your Hero of the Chapter stratagem, so you can still have your Warlord elsewhere. This is usually a fairly decent idea, because Smash Captains are going to be wanting to throw themselves straight into the enemy lines to down hard targets. If you're investing this much in a captain, you really need him to be charging into the enemy lines without fear. I've broken down his damage output against some likely targets next. Against a Toughness 8 Knight, he'll do about 10.3 wounds, and the same to the Toughness 7 vehicle as he wounds them both on 3s. These both go up decently if you get into the Assault Doctrine, presuming you're playing an unaugmented Assault Doctrine, as that'll let him ignore those 3 up saves completely. I've also written down the amount of 1 wound Space Marines he'll kill on average, if that's helpful. Obviously, this isn't the complete build. You will of course have a chapter trait and doctrine, plus any Codex specific stratagems, relics and warlord traits that may supersede the options that we've chosen here. One other thing to note about this guy is that he doesn't have any additional help to make the charge if he's coming out of Deep Strike, which is a big negative for a Smash Captain. It means you'll be much more inclined to start this guy on the table and try and just jump out to meet enemy threats as your battle line moves up. You do have options with this. You could jump him into a Chaplain's Aura where the Chaplain was already on the board to give him a 7-inch charge, but that does require a little bit more coordination to pull off. So even this base Chapter Master with the simple upgrades you can give him from the base Codex Space Marines is really quite fighty. Damage 4 Thunderhammers really are no joke. If he can get a few rounds of close combat in with vehicles, then he's quite likely to make his points back, and don't forget you always have the options of fighting when he dies or fighting again if you really want to hammer through a whole load more damage. So let's move on to our next contender then, and look at the White Scars variant of this guy. Now this guy is a White Scar's Successor Smash Captain. I've chosen to ditch the White Scar's trait in favour of Hunter's Instincts and one of either Whirlwind of Rage or Master Artisans, and I'd probably just pick whichever one most fit in with the rest of the detachment, rather than worrying which one would be most optimal for this guy. I don't suspect that the difference will be all that big. I've chosen for a Take All Comers build, him to have the Warlord trait Chigorian Storm, and also to have the Mastercrafted weapon as the standard version had. Chigorian Storm gives him an additional D3 attacks on the charge, so he'll be hitting with an average of 7 attacks when he goes into close combat after we've accounted for Shock Assault. White Scars have an incredibly helpful stratagem for Smash Captains, which is Fierce Rivalries for just 1 command point. This will let them roll 3d6 inches for a charge range and pick the 2 highest. That's coupled with Hunter's Instincts, gives him a really good chance of getting in, and you can always spend another command reroll if you do fail that roll. There are other ways that you can get boosted charges in the White Scars Codex, such as synergy with Librarians or with the Plume of the Planesrunner. This White Scars captain has a lot of other decent options. If you did choose to make him your actual Warlord, you could give him 2 Warlord traits, so you could have Chigorian Storm and also the Imperium Sword, so he'd have D3 plus 1 attacks and also plus 1 strength. This would no doubt push his damage output absolutely through the roof, but it does run into the problem earlier of throwing your Warlord to the wind, which will give up victory points in most games. So it's up to you whether throwing your Warlord away to get the baddest Smash Captain out there is worth it. Honestly, I think in some situations it would be, but in some situations it could even cost you a win of the game if you lose a victory point from Slay the Warlord. A different option you could buy in, maybe tailored to your opponent, is Hunter's Instincts. This will give you +1 to hit and wound against vehicles, so it's definitely better than Chigorian Storm if you're fighting nothing but knights, for example. He can also be a Master of Snares Warlord to prevent the opponent from falling back, hopefully. He can buy the Chapter Master stratagem in, as we've said as the previous one, and he does have the option of remaining actual White Scars, which certainly isn't a bad set of traits for a Chapter Master by any means. Being able to advance and charge and fall back and charge makes him very flexible. If we look at his damage output, then he's slightly better than the Smash Captain against Knights, and significantly better against the Toughness 7 vehicle, as he still wounds that on a 3, and absolutely loads better against 1 wound Marines, due to those extra attacks. When he goes into the Assault Doctrine, which White Scars will certainly want to do, his damage output goes absolutely crazy, between having a flat damage 5 Thunderhammer and also ignoring all armor saves. This guy isn't so far away from being able to down a Knight in 1 round of close combat, and he should pretty much be guaranteed to if you make him fight twice. White Scars are probably my favourite chapter out of the core Codex Space Marines for building fighty captains. They have a massive ton of damage and great options to tailor towards your opponent that you can select after you've seen the lists via stratagems. And now we come to our final captain, my old reliable Angel's Wing Blood Angel Smash Captain, who has received some very nice buffs from Blood of Baal. I'm a real fan of taking Angel's Wing with the Blood Angel Smash Captain. Obviously this will preclude him from taking something like the Hammer of Baal as a fancy relic to buff his damage output, but instead I'll take Artisan of War, which is the Blood Angel's Warlord trait that gives +1 damage to the Thunderhammer instead. I would pretty much always buy in Death Visions of Sanguinius before the game starts. This will cost 1 more command point, but it gives him the Black Rage ability, allowing him a 6-up Feel No Pain, so more durability than his counterparts, and also the additional attack on the charge. Now the Angel's Wing is a really great relic for a Smash Captain. It allows you to reroll failed charges, and Blood Angels already gets +1 to charge via Red Thirst, so you'll have a reroll 8 charge at base. If you pop the Blood Angel strat Descent of Angels for when he comes in from reserve to have a 3d6 inch charge, then you go to being ridiculously likely to make that charge, as you have to only roll an 8-inch charge on 3d6 and you can reroll the dice. Angel's Wing also has the great ability of ignoring Overwatch, which can actually be a decent threat to Smash Captains, particularly if they've already got beaten up earlier in the battle, and they want to charge in to hopefully down a scary enemy shooting threat. Just being able to know that that's not a consideration at all allows you to be very aggressive with this guy and lets you to throw him straight into the middle of the enemy army and tie up as many shooting units as he can. He has the option for some other decent stratagems. Red Rampage is one that I would use quite consistently on this guy. Red Rampage can give you an extra D3 attacks on the turn when a Blood Angel's character charges for 1 command point. If I was ever in any doubt of not killing my target, then I would definitely pop this stratagem. It's really quite good value for 1 command point, They also have some decent mobility options in Wings of Fire to jump up off the board and redeploy right next to the enemy at the end of your movement phase. You can do this for a surprise first turn charge, though it does cost 2 command points. One that I've not mentioned on this list is Forlorn Fury, which you can also use with a Smash Captain as he gains the Black Rage. This is another 2 command points to allow him to move and advance before the game begins, meaning that you should again be guaranteed a first turn charge very easily. I've broken down his damage output on the various targets below. With the Red Thirst giving him +1 to wound, he is absolutely brutal against the knights and vehicles, particularly in Assault Doctrine where the Savage Echoes will give him another additional attack on the charge, putting him up to a casual 9 attacks on the charge on average, presuming you activate Red Thirst. He has the best damage profile against the knight and the vehicle, and of course you can double down on all of this investment by letting him fight again for another 3 command points. Against the Marine, he's fairly balanced against the White Scars captain. He'll do slightly less damage when he's not in Assault Doctrine, but slightly more when he is because of that extra attack. So this guy has a ton of really great advantages mobility wise, and a bunch of great stratagems as well, but all of this does come with the significant downside of costing more command points than the other 2 Smash Captains. Death Visions cost 1 command point, and Red Thirst costs 1 command point every time you use it, never mind the more fancy stratagems with his mobility options or boosted charges. Having said all that, I still think that the Blood Angel's Smash Captain is still my favourite. His options allow him to be pretty much the same as the White Scars Successor, but he has the added perk of ignoring Overwatch, and an innate charge reroll that the White Scars Successor doesn't have. I'm certainly looking forward to putting my Blood Angel Smash Captain back on the board again, and feeding him a bunch of command points to carve his way through the enemy army. I appreciate I haven't covered many of the chapters here. We did already talk about some of the options in the chapter-specific options for Smash Captains video. If you'd like me to do something similar for other chapters Smash Captains, please let me know down in the comments. I do feel that these guys are going to reign supreme over the competition, but it could be fun to see what we can do with the other chapters too. And I could even not forget to mention Space Wolves this time, as so many of you reminded me in the last video. Otherwise, this will be the last video in the Captain series. It's been a very big topic to cover, but we've managed to look at it from a few different angles now. Let me know your thoughts or if I've missed anything down in the comments below. Feel free to subscribe to Auspex Tactics if you'd like to see more videos like this, or to support my Patreon if you'd like to see more content like this in the future. Thanks very much for listening, and I'll hope to see you guys next time.